Live from
it's working.
Quest headquarters, it's the Northwest Assembly Bible Study with PB&G, where if you miss a little,
you miss a lot.
Sorry, we're a little
even
late.
Though we're late, you haven't missed anything.
Some gremlins in the machine tonight, but hopefully they're working out. So
I blame OpenAI. Skynet is just starting to cause the problem.
It is. The Terminators are coming. All right, welcome everyone. I am Pastor Brad. This is Pastor Gary, and we are going to start the book of Esther tonight.
Yeah.
So grab your Bibles, open them to the book of Esther. My Bible, it's on page 736.
Well, you get all what's in there and all these extra pages.
Yours is on 582.
Yeah, like the new Reader Expressive version.
Mine has more pictures than yours.
Oh, that could be
big pictures, colored pictures. Okay. Anyway, so thank you for tuning in tonight, and Gary's going to open us with prayer, and we're going to get started.
All right. God, tonight as we kick off the book of Esther, as usual, God, just help us to value this letter you've given us. Tonight we're going to see something that's a little bit different than other stuff we've done. But God, so much of it is us seeing your hand and you're working and your care for your people, just like everything else, just like us today, God. And it's so hard for us to understand that and to see that as we walk in it day to day. God, just help us to trust that you're doing for us what you did for them. And just help us to hang on and follow you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, Gary.
Sure.
Okay. Book of Esther. Before we get into it, we should probably get a little historical setting and theme going. What's happening here?
Long time ago
in this book. Long time ago in the land far, far away.
Far away. There you go. That's the setting.
Okay.
This is in Persia. So it's after the Jews were taken captive from Judah by Nebuchadnezzar, and then Nebuchadnezzar was gone and taken over by the Medo-Persian Empire. This is after that. So this is like after Daniel. Because that would have been, Daniel was there for like the Nebuchadnezzar part and leading up into the end of that. So this is after that. Now we're into the Persian Empire where a lot of the Israelites are still out there. This is probably just after Nehemiah, after they had gone back and actually started to rebuild in Jerusalem and stuff, but not everybody went.
Right. Yep. This takes place after the Jews go back to Jerusalem. They rebuild everything and stuff's happening there. And so Xerxes is king.
Yep.
And we'll just kick it off with chapter 1, verse 1.
And first of all, he has an AKA. You may hear Ahasuerus or you may hear Xerxes.
Yep.
Both would be accurate, and they're talking about the same dude if they're if that comes up.
Yes, actually.
Because
it depends on how it's translated. Yeah, as Ahasuerus.
Your walrus.
Your walrus.
Yes.
I didn't even know I had.
That's why they call him Xerxes.
That's right.
It's easier to say.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, there you have
it.
All
right. Now it took place.
Same guy though.
Yep, and it took place in the days of Ahasuerus, the Ahasuerus who reigned from India to Ethiopia over 127 provinces. In those days, as king, Ahasuerus sat on his royal throne, which was at the citadel in Susa, in the 3rd year of his reign. He gave a banquet for all his princes in attendance, the army officers of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes of his provinces being in his presence. And he displayed the riches of his royal glory and the splendor of his great majesty for many days, 180 days. As usual with the Bible, people look at it and say, well, it's got to be false unless I can prove it true. Where with other historical texts, they look at it and say, that must be true unless I can prove it false.
Right.
So people say, well, it doesn't say anywhere about him having 120 provinces. It says it has 30 satrapies. We have that in history, but it doesn't say that those weren't further broken up into provinces. And there's, you'll see Herodotus, who's somebody who wrote about this time period, as well as Josephus. Mention them a little bit here and there as they have some input on this time period.
Josephus Flavius?
Yeah, him.
That one? Okay.
So we will refer to them and some of the things that they wrote because they talk about some of the things. His Xerxes' actual throne was in Persepolis, but Susa was where he had his palace. So he was there for the winter.
Side note, Susa was the first Hebrew word I learned. From that's right.
Yep.
That's right.
And Daniel actually mentions being there. That's where he had one of his visions was right there.
Yep.
So he's the king after would have been Darius the Mede and all that. He's the king of that, and everywhere from India to Ethiopia, that would have been modern day from like Pakistan all the way down to the Sudan.
Yes,
is the area that he ruled. He did not rule Greece. We'll find, and I don't know if it directly mentions it, but right after this, between the events of when he gives his wife the boot here in chapter 1 and he marries Esther, he actually launches a campaign against Greece where he gets his butt spanked. So there's that.
All right.
So yeah, according to Herodotus, there were Persian feasts with up to 15,000 attendees.
That's a big party.
So when it talks about showing his stuff off, and note it says that he displayed his riches for 180 days, and then it talks about a banquet lasting 7 days, because people have said, when they read this, they said, well, they didn't have a banquet last 180 days. That's got to be made up. It's like, well, that's not really what it says.
No.
So there you go.
When you are the king of the world, which is what these characters were. When they sat in those thrones, they ruled, and they had money and resources far and wide.
Mm-hmm.
They owned everything, and he showed off everything he owned. It was like this giant, hey, look at all my stuff, look what I got, for 6 months. And people would have come and traveled to see it and to see the grandeur and the splendor of Xerxes' kingdom, everything that he has. And he just displays his power and his wealth and his everything that he has. And then at the end of that, they have a week-long, everybody sit down and eat, drink, and be merry for 7 days.
And when Xerxes had come to dinner, you didn't say no.
No, you
Didn't
came
work
to
that
dinner.
way.
Well, after seeing the parade of all of his missiles and maybe not that, bows and archers and gold chariots and whatever else he had.
Those are missiles.
Yeah, they
bows
are.
And archers,
So,
but also Herodotus tells us that Xerxes gathered all his generals and stuff together to lay out his plans for the invasion of Greece. And this would have fit the time frame for that. So it could well be that he got everybody together and then he said, okay, while you're all here, this is what we're going to do.
Yep.
It would have fit time frame wise. It would have made sense. So 5, when these days were completed, the king gave a banquet lasting 7 days for all the people who were present at the citadel in Susa, from the greatest to the least, in the court of the garden of the king's palace. There were hangings of fine white and violet linen, held by cords of fine purple linen on silver rings, and marble columns, and couches of gold and silver on a mosaic pavement of porphyry, marble, mother of pearl, and precious stones. Drinks were served in golden vessels of various kinds, and the royal wine was plentiful according to the king's bounty. The drinking was done according to the law. There was no compulsion, for so that the king gave orders to each official of his household that he should do according to the desires of each person. They just spend a lot of time there just kind of saying, wow, this place is really something. Talking about the opulence of his garden. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Normally, though, if you see in verse 8 what it's talking about, normally the master of the feast would tell them, okay, now it's time to drink. Okay, no, it's not. So everybody's not slovenly and drunk by, the time you're halfway through the feast. But here, King says, tell them drink whatever they want. Just have at it.
It was a bender.
It was
a week-long bender.
This was not just a prim and proper banquet. This was a party.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if we can point it out on the map, but everything that he ruled would have been, this is Greece, and it would have been from the border of Greece all around through this entire Eric, wait, did he go? Yeah, it did. It actually did.
Yeah.
From Greece
So he
all
didn't have
around
it.
this whole area
All the way down to here.
and all the way down into
So
Africa,
presumably, yeah.
Egypt, and all of this. It was a grand piece of
Mhm.
real estate. So when he was showing off his stuff, he was showing off stuff from what is, here, the East Africa. There's a lot going on.
And you have to, map it out to see just exactly, but land-wise, it's probably well over the size of the United States.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
So what he was in control of, and not like the 50 states and all that, but I mean, one guy. This is my kingdom.
Yep. Powerful man.
Yeah.
You don't cross him.
No.
And we'll get into that as we go.
Yeah. So verse 9, Queen Vashti also gave a banquet for the women in the palace, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. And it never says anywhere that women weren't allowed at the king's banquet, but apparently at this one, she had her own banquet, whether because she didn't want to put up with those drunken slobs or whatever.
Right. And it doesn't say, and that it could be either way,
Yeah. So she had her own banquet. On the seventh day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, we've been drunk for 7 days, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, Abagtha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 eunuchs who served in the presence of King Ahasuerus.
Anyone out there going to have a baby girl anytime soon? These are beautiful names for baby girls.
The 7 eunuchs.
They're not girls' names.
No.
My mistake.
You're gonna have a boy.
I mean,
anytime soon.
yeah, kind of. I mean, if you're going to have a eunuch anytime soon.
Bigtha. It's so pretty.
Bigtha, Abagtha.
Yeah, I know.
Carcass. That's a good name for a kid.
Oh man, it is. It sounds like the names of a football team, the front line of the
Yeah.
Bigtha and Carcass.
Harbona. And I don't know. I don't know who these people were, and presumably the people who read this story didn't know who these people were. But the fact that they list them by names kind of gives credence to it's like I'm not just making something up here, because again, when you insert these just weird little details, it's a sign of, hey, I'm remembering this. I'm sharing this with you, that this thing that happened, And it was common then for, if you were going to work in the king's harem, if you were going to work around the king's wife, you'd be a eunuch, because he didn't trust any man who wasn't a eunuch around his harem.
Correct.
So that was just the way they did things.
Kept the ladies safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Right. So verse 11 commanded them to bring Queen Vashti before the king with her royal crown in order to display her beauty to the people and the princes, for she was beautiful. But Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's command delivered by the eunuchs. And the king became very angry, and his wrath burned within him. So
he's they're all drunk, and he's drunk, and he wants to show off his arm candy, his good-looking wife with a crown. And he says, "Bring her in here, sir, and take a look at how beautiful my wife is." And she's like, "No, you're drunk. The room's drunk. This is ridiculous. I'm not going to do it." And then now he's mad.
Yeah.
And you have made mad the guy who owns all of this, and that's a lot of mad right there. So,
to display her beauty is, at the very least, he was telling her to come in without her.
Yep, because he wanted everyone to see her face.
Right. Commentators speculate he was asking her to come in with a whole lot less than that.
Well,
to parade her around
for sure, though.
Her crown, and maybe that's all, is what some people think is what he was saying.
To come in wearing nothing but a smile and a crown. Yes.
Yeah. And she said, no. I mean, to her credit, she has some intestinal fortitude here. She says, no, I'm not your trophy. I'm not going to do it. And again, he's not the kind of guy you just said no to.
No, people died back in those days.
Yeah, easily, quickly. Just okay. Yeah. So, for her part, I mean, she doesn't play a major part in this story, but for all the debauchery and drunkenness and foolishness of the men we see here in the story, the women kind of got it together. I mean, it's interesting. The verse 13, then the king said to the wise men who understood the times, For it was the custom of the king, so to speak, before all who knew law and justice, and who were close to him, Karshina, Admatha, Tarshish, Meres, Marcina, and Memucan, the 7 princes of Persia and Media who had access to the king's presence and sat first in the palace of the kingdom. According to law, what is to be done with Queen Vashti because she did not obey the command of Queen Ahasuerus delivered by the eunuchs? In the presence of the king and princes, Memucan said, Vashti, let's stop before we begin. We see also in Ezra chapter 7, it talks about the king and his 7 advisors. So there's this, it was just the way they had it set up. He had these 7, he was his cabinet.
Yes.
So yeah, he looked at them and said, okay, what should I do with them? What can I do? He obviously, I mean, they had even though he was the king, they had certain things set up. One of the things that we'll see is like once he made a decree and he went through all the legal proceedings, it was non-revocable. He couldn't say, oh, I changed my mind.
Mhm.
Same thing with Daniel. And
Yes.
you know, he's like, oh, the decree.
Have
Sorry,
to do
Daniel.
it. Yep.
You got to go feed the lions.
Yeah. He's like, good luck. I hope you make it, but I can't take this back.
Yeah.
Yes.
So even though he was a king, there had some other things set up. So he looks at his 7 viziers and he says, okay, what can I do? Advise me. And in verse 16, in the presence of the king and the princes, Memucan said, Queen Vashti has wronged not only the king, but also the princes and all the people who are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus. For the queen's conduct will become known to all the women, causing them to look with contempt on their husbands, by saying King Ahasuerus commanded Queen Vashti to be brought into his presence, but she did not come.
She's going to start an uprising. If we let her get away with it, all the ladies are going to get away with it.
This day the ladies of Persia and Media who have heard of the king's conduct will speak in the same way to all the king's princes, and there will be plenty of contempt and anger. Here he is, standing in front of a room of drunk men, saying, well, we need to put these women in their place. And
Yep.
like, here.
Yep. And the line, there will be no end of disrespect and discord. That this will just go up, spinning out of control.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
He's
the
just,
wrong Bible study here.
he's just
No,
playing.
it's good. She's the hero's coming. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing to the crowd and,
Yeah,
and demeaning women, and it's like, oh, they're going to think they can, have control of themselves or something. We can't be having this.
Borrow my favorite line, and she did come. Woman.
Yeah,
Drum roll. Another drum roll. Third drum roll.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, it's just
Punched you.
it's, when you look on the face of it, he's playing to the king, and of course he thinks what's said.
Yeah. And this is the culture. Again, this is if you were going to fake this and write this your own, you wouldn't write a story like this. Especially the way it ends. Yeah.
When the king says, "Hey, come here," and she doesn't show up. I mean, this has got to be a huge embarrassment.
Every
that-
other
in front of all these
I
people.
own everything. Everybody's been spend 6 months looking at all my stuff, and I can't control
Every-
my wife.
Every person of influence and power in that area was there.
Yeah.
And for them to see that he can't even control his own wife.
Yeah.
That's not a
He's
good
supposed to
look.
control the
No,
world.
no.
You're the king of the world, and you ain't even king of your own house.
Yeah.
There's a problem here. And then the mumbling and the murmuring, and he's like, so what do I gotta do something.
Yeah. And again, the courage of Vashti to say, no, I'm
Spectacular.
not going to do it.
Yeah.
You go, girl.
Yeah. The
She's
original feminist blue hair.
Yeah.
You know.
Just say, ain't going to
She's a-
happen.
she's a better leader than him at this point.
She is. Yeah. 19. If it pleases the king, let a royal edict be issued by him, and let it be written in the laws of Persia and Media so that it cannot be repealed, that Vashti may no longer come into the presence of the king Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal position to another who is more worthy than she. When the king's edict, which he will make, is heard throughout all his kingdom, great as it is, then all the women will give honor to their husbands, great and small.
So what did
Yeah,
you do?
of course. I mean, that's
Yeah. All in favor? Unanimous.
yeah. Like the women, all women and their husbands, great and small, are going to hear about this and care.
So basically, he says that you can never come into my presence unless I request you to come into my presence.
I think no, not at all. Not even by his
Yeah,
request
yeah,
at this point.
request.
You just
Banished.
Don't you darken my door. That's what my eighth
Oh.
grade English teacher told me.
Yeah,
Don't you darken
yes.
my door until your homework's done.
Mhm.
It was a long time till I went back to her
Yep.
class, but
Never again into the presence of King Xerxes.
yeah.
So she has been banished.
Yep, that's what it is she's banished. So, and of course he says, well, see, and we'll just not teach just her a lesson, but we'll teach them all a lesson. Yeah. It's like the He-Man Woman Haters Club.
Yeah. Shaking seats. Yes, yes.
Yeah. So 21, this word pleased the king and the princes, and the king did as Memucan proposed. He sent letters to all the king's provinces, to each province according to its script, and to every people according to their language, that every man should be the master in his own house, and the one who speaks in the language of his own people. One thing, it's a minor detail here, but it's actually pretty accurate, is the one thing that Persia at this time was known for was their postal system. They had a system set up of I could write letters, I could write edicts, and it would be transferred all throughout the thing. Then it wasn't obviously as fast as ours, which is
Maybe
be
it was.
faster.
I was going to say it could be faster.
but it
Minimal
was
expense.
accurate, you know, and
Yes.
it would. So these things had a way to travel. So yeah, he says what he needs to placate the king's ego, and all the nobles are like, oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, I feel man now, yeah, let's drink some more.
Well, and since she has been booted from her position, that role is now vacant.
Yeah.
And as in the edict, that the exact words that someone someone worth that position,
Somebody more worthy, yeah.
would fill it. So here he is. He's booted her. Everyone in the known world knows she's been booted, and listen to your husband, or this will happen to you too, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And so that's done. Now he's sitting there in his chair and he's thinking, I ain't got no queen.
Well, yeah, and make no mistake, he's not taking a vow of celibacy here.
No.
He's still got a harem.
Yes.
He's still got concubines, but he doesn't have a queen.
Yes, there's that specific position that needs a face
Mhm.
in that role. So that's where we pick that up.
Yep. So chapter 2, moving right along. See, just like I did when I finished Romans, like chapter and a half or something one night, just
Stop.
saying.
Everyone was so excited you finally
We were
Finally
Put a
finished that
fork in
thing.
that thing.
That's
Look at
nice.
this guy. He did it one night, but doing
Yeah,
a whole year.
You're doing a whole year, 56 weeks or something. Anyway, keep going.
Brad just saw all the names, like, I'm not preaching that.
Well,
Mhm.
you've been doing great so far, Gary. Here. Does he sit at home and practice?
His sarcasm just rolls out practicing.
That's native sarcasm. It's like came from my dad. I don't know.
Does he
It's in
curse
there.
my name when he's doing it at all? No. Okay, good.
No, he doesn't.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure. All right, chapter 2. After these things, when the anger of the king Ahasuerus had subsided, he remembered Vashti and what she had done and what he had decreed, or what had been decreed against her. Sounds a little like he's a little bit
Sobered up.
He's a little regretful.
a little regretful, maybe.
A little nostalgic.
As much
a
as he's
little-
capable. And it doesn't tell us here, it just says after these things. But when we get to verse 16, we find out this is like 4 years later. So it took him a little time to say, oh, gee, where's Vashti? It wasn't exactly overnight.
Yeah. Well, like you said, he had a lot of other things to keep him
Well,
busy.
and the campaign against the Greeks, they were told the dates, so we know that happened in this time frame. So that took a lot of his time at that
Yeah.
point. So that did happen. So verse 2,
Verse
then
2.
the king's attendants who served him said, let beautiful young virgins be sought for the king. Let the king appoint overseers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather every beautiful young virgin to the citadel of Susa, to the harem in the custody of Haggai, the king's eunuch, who is in charge of the women. Let their cosmetics be given them. Then the young lady who pleases the king be queen in place of Vashti. And the matter pleased the king, and he did accordingly. If the other edict that they talked him into sounded ridiculous, self-pleasing.
Hey guys, go through the kingdom and round up all the hotties,
Yep.
so I can take a look at them. That's
All the
This guy's a
the
peach.
young unmarried women,
yep.
get them all, bring them to me.
Yep.
I'm gonna shuffle the deck and see what I like.
That's right. That's right. It's going to be the Xerxes beauty pageant.
So all through the known world,
Yep.
and they're just going around grabbing women. Hey, you're pretty. Hey, oh, hey, come
Yeah.
on, you're coming with me. You don't have a choice. I don't care if your parents don't have any other kids, whatever.
Right. Snatching them away from their parents, whatever. You don't have a choice in this matter. If you were a beautiful girl, you were heading for Xerxes beauty pageant. You didn't have any choice. Yes.
Nice feller.
Of course, on the flip side, if you're living in a mud hut out in the middle of nowhere, scratching on a living, and now you're going to get sent to the palace and doing milk baths and perfumes and makeup and being pampered for a year to maybe make the cut, it wasn't like you're going to be suffering immeasurably.
No,
It's
not
like-
then. But then what's after? is
Yeah.
the question.
It's the ones who don't get picked.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, what do you do with those?
Now we'll find out.
We will.
He'll tell us. And 5. Now there was in the citadel in Susa a Jew whose name was Mordecai, the son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, a Benjamite, who had been taken into exile from Jerusalem with the captives who had been exiled, with Jeconiah, king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had exiled.
So again, this is that connection all the way back to Nebuchadnezzar and Daniel, those stories.
Right,
And this is
right. And some people debate a little bit here. Who is it talking about? Is it talking about this Kish, who was taken captive, or is it talking about Mordecai?
right.
Because if he was taken to captive at exactly the same time as Jeconiah, king of Judah, he'd been around 100 years old. So people say, well, that could have been him. It must be Kish. That Kish was a Benjamite who had been taken captive. But we have genealogies of Mordecai, and Kish isn't mentioned that close. Kish is, father of Saul. So people argue about it. Of course, if just anything like this comes up, people say, "Oh, see, it's the whole thing's false." Like, well, first of all, I guess Mordecai could have been like 100 years old. Daniel was when he went in the
Yes.
lion's den. He was,
Yes.
pushing 100. There could have been another Kish in the genealogy that's not mentioned. It's not unheard of to skip people in genealogies, and it's possible that he was taken. There were several waves of captivity, and there were also people who were taken outside of those major waves. So it's not exactly sure. We don't have all the details there, but it doesn't mean we're going to throw the baby out with the bathwater and move on.
No,
it's just a little uncertain. That's one of those spots where people say, "Oh, see." It's like, well, we don't have all the details.
the genealogy is a little unclear, but maybe it's a whole lot clearer than we think. We just don't have all the details.
Right. I mean, this was 5,000 years ago or whatever. So
Anyway, the point of this family tree is to let us know that Mordecai is a Jew who is there because somewhere in his lineage, his relatives had been taken captive by Nebuchadnezzar and taken there away from Jerusalem, away from Israel, taken there. And so that's where he is.
yeah. And it's also important that we note later that he is descended from Kish. He's a Benjamite. So he would have been descended from Saul.
Yes.
That same line.
Kingly
and actually, we
line.
see, according to his genealogy, that he's a son of Mephibosheth, who wouldn't have lived except for David's kindness.
He was the one with the bad foot, the bad leg that David spares, that he doesn't kill.
Yep.
Yes.
And Mordecai's here because of that.
Yep.
So anything that happens in this story that is done, that Mordecai does, we can look at that and say, because God told David to save Mephibosheth, we're going to see salvation for these Jews.
Yeah.
So, what did I finish? 7. He was bringing up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had no father or mother. Now the young lady was beautiful of form and face, and when her father and her mother died, Mordecai took her as his own daughter. So this is Esther, or Hadassah, and it's not uncommon for people to get a different name, in this captivity. People, like Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Right.
People like, who are those guys? That's Rack, Shack, and Benny.
Correct. Yes.
That wasn't their real names.
No.
And Daniel, he's the Belteshazzar is what they call him, but
Yep.
Daniel was his name. So it's not uncommon for like Mordecai is actually probably comes from Marduk, or the god Marduk,
Yep.
because they have records of an accountant basically who worked for the king whose name was Mordecai.
Yep.
Esther is likely a derivative of Ishtar, which was one of their goddesses. It meant star.
Yep. That was her Persian name.
Yeah.
Star.
But Hadassah was her actual given name.
Yep.
So, but they didn't go by their Jewish names. One, especially here, because they're trying to hide their Jewishness right now.
Correct. Right.
So now the young lady was beautiful of form and face. And I don't know. I guess it's not a bad thing, but if I guess I wouldn't have to worry about it necessarily. But if my description was put in the Bible, I wouldn't want it to be, well, he was good looking. I guess, again, maybe not a problem for me, but I would have liked that have been, well, she was substantial. She knew things. She did, and I guess to the end of the story, we get to that point.
Well, and it's curious that all these, especially in the New Testament, well, even in the Old Testament, characters like David is described as, had a ruddy complexion. So, he had a good tan and, kind of, he was out in the sun a lot, herding sheep. So he, skin was reddish and it's a description there. And they'll describe Samson and his hair. They don't really spend a lot of time on describing what people look like unless it is absolutely vital to the storyline.
In some of the books, it's almost the opposite. It's like if they describe how well formed that person was, it usually means they're lacking in character.
Yeah.
Like Saul, they talk about how handsome Saul was and how he looked
tall
the part.
guy. Yeah.
David was just this unimpressive kid.
Well, and David's son with the hair, Fabio, gets hooked in the tree branches.
And Ruth doesn't say anything about how she looked. Then it comes to Esther, it's like, oh, she's a hottie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so what should we assume about Ruth?
We don't know. We don't know what Peter looked like or Matthew looked like. We don't know what Moses looked like. We don't even know what Adam looked like in the Genesis. No. Incidental.
Yeah.
So
it's just interesting.
It is.
That's what they talk about, but it is germane to the story. I mean, it there's a reason that they tell us that as we go forward. So it makes sense. It just kind of seems out of place. So it's funny. Now the young lady pleased him. Okay, yeah. Haggai, the Esther, the city in the custody of Haggai. That Esther was taken to the king's palace. So custody of Haggai, who was in charge of the women. He's the eunuch there who's in charge of the women. Now the young lady pleased him and found favor with him. So he quickly provided her with cosmetics and food, gave her 7 choice maids from the king's palace, and transferred her and her maid to the best place in the harem. So Haggai is a eunuch.
Yes.
So his interest in Esther is obviously not that. And he's also surrounded by beautiful women because they just took all these women in there. Josephus tells us it was 400. Some people think it was as many as 1,400. But either way, he's surrounded by the most beautiful women in the kingdom. So it's not her looks that influence Haggai. There's something else to Esther other than a pretty face. When he meets her, he gets to know her. He's like, I'm giving you 7 attendants and giving you a special place.
You are a woman of character. There's something about her. Mm-hmm. She's not an idiot. She seems to be socially aware. She seems to have a real good sense of herself and other people. And she's a person of character, and he notices. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So he says, I'm going to take care of you, basically. Make sure you're good.
Yep. And this reminds me a little of Joseph. I mean, who you are, regardless of where you are, tells sooner or later.
Yeah.
Joseph gets hauled away to Egypt, and because of who he is, he just keeps rising. He gets pushed back down, and he rises again. Same thing with Daniel. Just same thing with Esther here. There's quality there that you can't hold down. So 10, Esther did not make known her people or her kindred, for Mordecai had instructed her that she should not make them known. She didn't tell them that she was Jewish.
Right.
Keep that under your hat, Esther. So every day, Mordecai walked back and forth in front of the court of the harem to learn how Esther was and how she fared. So he's worried. He's worried sick about her. He's wandering around. It's like, hey, anybody seen Esther? Everybody heard anything of Esther? Yeah, what's going on in there? Which I don't know how it all worked, but I got to think that he was putting himself in a little bit of danger just hanging around the harem that much. King gets wind of that, he probably wouldn't like it very much. So, verse 12. Now, when the turn of each young lady came to go into King Ahasuerus after the end of her 12 months, under the regulations for the women, for the days of their beautification were completed as follows: 6 months with oil of myrrh and 6 months with spices and cosmetics for women. The young lady would go into the king in this way. Anything that she desired was given her to take with her from the harem to the king's palace. In the evening she would go in, and in the morning she would return to the second harem, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the concubines. She would not again go into the king unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. Okay, there's a lot there. First, after stealing all these women away from their families because they're beautiful, now, you need to subject yourself to 6 months of this and 6 months of this before you're fit to be seen by the king.
Right.
I mean, it's like you're not worthy of the king until you do all this.
Yeah, they would have been washed and soaked and rubbed down with perfumes and oils literally for an entire year. Their bodies would have just smelled like this perfume.
Yeah.
I mean, and unlike any of the rest of the ladies, they would have been just pampered, and their hair and what they ate, they would have it was like a whole year beauty regimen. Year.
And then it was take whatever you want into the presence of the king with you.
Yep.
To try to impress the king, jewels or whatever. And that's kind of what you were talking about. It's like, well, if they were living in some mud hut, I mean, this treatment would have been,
set you up.
Yeah. The problem is it's like all the extra food that they're giving the calf. The calf don't know what day's coming.
Yep.
Because at the end of the year, the king he'd take him into his bed for a night.
Yep.
Then when he was done, if he wasn't impressed, notice they go to the second harem, to the custody of Shashgaz, the king's eunuch who was in charge of the concubines. Now you're not queen, you're a concubine now.
You get downgraded and cast aside, basically.
So if I'm feeling randy, I might come and visit you, but you're going to have no official standing.
Right.
You're not allowed to be around any other man.
No.
But just go in with these other 400 women and spend the rest of your life there.
Yep.
Without a husband, without a family, just in case I might want to talk to you again.
Right. That's exactly it. Your life was basically in this this whole building with, like you said, up to 400 other women, and that's all you did. You just hung around there all day, every day, year after year after year after year. Nothing.
Yeah, you've been cared for. You'd have food and stuff, but yeah, you're
Not a
essentially
great
a
life.
prisoner, like a widow. I mean, So all these beautiful young virgins that he took and had his way with, and then if he didn't want them, just go over there and that's it. I mean, just toss them aside.
15.
Now, with the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken her as his daughter, came to go into the king, she did not request anything except what Haggai, the king's eunuch, who was in charge of the women, advised.
So he is helping.
He's helping. She's wise enough to listen. It's like, if anybody knows what king likes, it's going to be this guy.
Yep.
So I'm going to listen to him. And Esther found favor in the eyes of all who saw her. So Esther was taken to King Ahasuerus to his royal palace in the 10th month
of Tebeth.
In the 7th year of his reign. So this tells us this was 4 years after all the stuff with Queen Vashti in the first.
And this
chapter.
Is also coming off of this after this year is up and he starts sifting through all of these beauty queens. This would have been after his defeat to Greece as well. So Vashti's been gone for 4 years, and he's coming off the heels of a military defeat as well at this time, isn't he? With Greece?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. He lost over Greece. And So 17, the king loved Esther more than all the women, and she found favor and kindness with him more than all the virgins, so that he set the royal crown on her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Then the king gave a great banquet, Esther's banquet, for all his princes and his servants. He also made a holiday for the provinces and gave gifts according to the king's bounty. He seems like he's kind of a whimsical kind of fella. I don't know. Maybe he's guided by other than stone cold logic. I don't know. But he's completely taken with her. And immediately he's like, here's my queen. Here she is.
Another party.
Another part. Let's have a party. I found a queen. So 19, when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate. Esther had not yet made known her kindred or her people, even as Mordecai had commanded her, for Esther did what Mordecai told her, as she had done under his care. So I don't know if it doesn't tell us when the virgins were gathered together a second time, if like everybody else got to go home that wasn't already a concubine, or how that worked. I'm not entirely sure. We're not really given a ton of context there. Or if this was, some people say, well, maybe he just got a bunch more. It's like, maybe, but if he was looking for a queen, you'd think he'd be done. I don't know. It doesn't really specifically say. So we don't specifically know. So in those days, verse 21, while Mordecai was sitting at the king's gate, Bigthan and Teresh, two of the king's officials from those who guarded the door, became angry and sought to lay hands on King Ahasuerus. Now, the sitting at the king's gate, even we saw it in Ruth. The village gate was where business was done. It was kind of like a combination of a town hall and the judge. It was where all the business took place. Same thing there in the palace. At the gate was where the guys who were in charge of stuff would sit and make decisions and
right there in the gate,
do all their official stuff.
And there are apparently at least two of the king's officers. So these would have been fighting men who don't really like him and want to take him out.
Yeah. Hard to imagine somebody not liking him. Seems like such a nice guy.
Yeah. So
Things don't change.
So they conspire
They
conspire to assassinate the king.
I'm gonna do the thing you should never do and throw out a quote that I heard somebody say, but I don't even know who said it.
It's okay.
But power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
When you can do anything you want, they do anything they want.
That's right. Well, that's what Xerxes does.
Yeah.
Whatever the king does, whatever the king wants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. 22.
22. But the plot became known to Mordecai, and he told Queen Esther, and Esther informed the king in Mordecai's name.
So Mordecai runs in the circles there inside in the gate. He's part of the crowd, part of the group that's in and out. He probably has a little bit of wisdom, and he's there. And he, through his contacts and connections, hears that these guys want to whack the king.
Mm-hmm.
So now he knows this. He's got some information.
Yeah.
So what is he going to do with that?
So even though he's some sort of an official, it's not like he's got access to the king.
Right.
So he tells Esther, you need to tell the king
this is going
this
down.
is going on. So Esther not only does, but she says, I found this out, and Mordecai's the one who brought it to me.
Yes.
So that when all the credit is out there, it could go to him.
See, and again, she's a woman of character.
Yeah. Yeah, she could have certainly taken credit.
She could have, but she doesn't.
But she doesn't. Yeah.
So verse 22.
23. Now, when the plot was investigated and found to be so, they were both hanged on the gallows, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles in the king's presence.
Okay.
So they did a little investigation, said, oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, string them up.
So they're gone.
Chapter
3.
Chapter 3.
Wow, you guys are
We're scooting. Yeah.
Well, I'm letting Gary do the talking, so he's getting somewhere.
After these events, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and established his authority over all the princes who were with him. Now, it doesn't say what he did to be elevated. We're never exactly sure about that. But for the people reading this and to the astute Bible scholar, this should ring a bell. The Agagite, because going back to 1 Samuel 9, God told Saul through Samuel, I want you to go to Amalek, these people that have just declared war on you, and wipe them out. And Saul doesn't do it. He goes over and he kills most of them, but he keeps the best cattle, and he doesn't kill all the people. And then he brings their king, whose name was Agag, back, and says, "Oh, look at Samuel! Look at what I did!" And that's what Samuel says. And I guess this is one of the best lines ever. He says, "I've been so obedient. I've done exactly what you said, Samuel." And he says, "And what's this bleating of the sheep in my ears?"
Yes.
Yeah, you just see him saying that. Just I like that. That's just a visual for me.
Well, and again, when you don't do what God tells you to do, it's not working out for you.
No,
and that happens here.
No, and the difference there, I guess, from here, and this is an aside, but Saul that day finds out king only means so much when you're in God's kingdom. Xerxes doesn't know that because he ignores God and he thinks he can do whatever he wants, but he'll find out later. Saul finds out sooner.
Yes. Yes. And again, we know there's one king, a king of kings, the king of kings. Xerxes thinks he's the king. He thinks he is the top of the food chain. He is the pinnacle, and he doesn't understand that he is under a king.
Right. Yeah. So back in Samuel ends up killing Agag because Saul didn't do it.
Yes.
But what we had there was Saul, the son of Kish, was told to kill Agag, the Amalekite, and he didn't do it. Fast forward all this time now, and we have Haman, the son of Agag, who's looking to kill Mordecai, the son of Kish.
Who wouldn't have been there if Saul would have done what he was told to do in the beginning.
Right. And now the shoe is on the other foot, and Agag is looking to get a little blood. He's going to try to not only kill
We can fix this.
Mordecai, he's going to kill them all if he can.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So for the people, the Jews, when they read this, that would have immediately jumped out. It's like, oh, wait a minute. These guys are going to be enemies.
Did you read verse 10 yet?
Just read verse 1. That's all I read.
Oh.
So verse 2, all the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to him, for so the king had commanded concerning him. But Mordecai neither bowed down nor paid homage. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, why are you transgressing the king's command? Now it was when they had spoken daily to him and he would not listen to them that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's reason would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. So this is like a little bit of a mixture of Shadrach and Meshach and Daniel all together. He wouldn't bow to Haman. He wasn't going to do it. And there's people that, like in Daniel's case, people that knew what he was doing went and told on him. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Mordecai said, I'm not going to bow to him. I'm not going to do it.
No, and again, that's a position that Jews had been put in historically in some of the other great stories of the Old Testament. Bow to me, and their response is, no, we won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, and here we go.
And here we go. 5, when Haman saw that Mordecai neither bowed nor paid homage to him, Haman was filled with rage, but he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him who the people of Mordecai were. Therefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews, the people of Mordecai, who were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. It's like, I'm not gonna destroy him. I'm gonna wipe out all his people.
Yeah, he wants to enact genocide of the Jews.
Because I'm
familiar?
mad.
Yeah.
Well, and it does sound familiar. That's the thing.
The Jews have been the single most persecuted race of people in history.
I mean, this is an original idea. Maybe somebody is whispering in his ear, kill the Jews, kill the Jews.
Could have been.
Maybe.
Could have been, I don't know, Satan.
Maybe. Yeah.
Every time.
The Jews
every
have
time.
been over and over again. People have tried to
Wipe
kill
them out.
over and over throughout history, even before this.
Yes.
So
yeah,
this is nothing new.
Verse 7.
7.
Is that where we are?
Yes. In the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, Pur, that is the lot, was cast before Haman from day to day and from month to month until the 12th month, that is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there's a certain people scattered and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of all other people, and they do not observe the king's laws. So it's not in the king's interest to let them remain. If it be pleasing to the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver in the hands of those who carry out the king's business to put into the king's treasuries. Then the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. The king said to Haman, the silver is yours, and the people also. Do with them as you please.
So he goes to the king and he says, King, the sort of like, again, even like when he throws Daniel in the lion's den, or Shadrach and Abednego in the fire. There's these people who won't listen to you, and you should let me take care of them for you. And the king says, do it.
Yeah, and there's some truth there. He says, these people are different than everybody else. These people are different, and we can't trust different.
No.
We got to get rid of different.
Yep.
And this is not just the Jews, but religious persecution. I mean,
in general,
look at the Christians. They're different.
Yes.
You can't have those Christians in your kingdom. We need to get rid of them. Maybe not as much in America yet, but all over the world, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
And don't miss that Haman said, hey, let me do this and I'll give you 375 tons of silver.
Yeah.
He's like, do you think maybe he wants to do this a little bit?
Yeah.
And he's essentially giving him a bribe, not only giving him a half truth, but giving him a bribe too. I'll pay you this much if you let me do it. And no doubt Haman thought he'd get a lot of that money back when he wiped out the Jews and seized a bunch of stuff. But this whole thing stinks. And the king's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's going to make you happy. Go ahead. It's like, can I borrow your car, king? Oh yeah, whatever. Just complete disregard. Now, he cast lots, which was something that they did back then for looking for guidance. But the Persian name for that, Pur,
Purim.
That's where that comes from.
Yep. The feast commemorating the Jews' deliverance from Haman.
That's what that
the
is.
Feast of Purim. Yes.
The Jews still have this feast today.
Yes.
To commemorate what happens in the book of Esther.
Yes.
That's where it comes from.
Yes.
So
they were saved from extinction that day because of what Esther did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And again, we mentioned that a little bit before. We'll see as they get saved from extinction. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler alert.
Shh, they know.
But all this happens because way back in First Kings, David spares Mephibosheth rather than wiping him out. So Mordecai's here because of that. But anywho, okay.
Let's go. Let's. Do we have time to push through to finish chapter 3? Or should we just
possibly
end it?
we might be able to. Where is it? Verse 8. We could probably do that. Oh yeah. Then Haman. Oh, he did that. Okay, verse 12. Yeah. Oh yeah, we can finish that. Then the king's scribes were summoned on the 13th day of the first month, and that was written just as Haman commanded to the king's satraps, to the governors who were over each province, and to the princes of each people. Each province according to its script, each people according to its language, being written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet ring.
So they wrote out this law to exterminate the Jews. They wrote it in all the languages of all the peoples in all these lands and dispersed it through their glorious mail system so that everybody knew Jews are bad guys.
Yep. We're going to kill them all on this day.
Yep. So, 13? Did we do that? 13?
Letters were sent by couriers, this is 13, to all the king's provinces to destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all the Jews, both young and old, women and children, in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, to seize their possessions as plunder. A copy of the edict was to be issued as law in every province, was published to all the people so that they should be ready for this day. The couriers went out and impelled by the king's command, while the decree was issued at the citadel in Susa, and while the king and Haman sat down to drink, the city of Susa was in confusion.
Think about that. As this letter goes out and the word spreads and you're a Jew, And you're thinking, wait a minute, all these people that aren't Jews know that, in a month on Saturday, they're going to kill us.
Mhm.
How do you walk around in the crowds and everyone's looking at you going, 4 weeks, buddy, 4 weeks, and we're coming for you? What Jews do? What would that be like? That's crazy.
So yeah, they're all receiving this message saying, yeah, it was March 7th, 473. We're going to kill all of you.
Yep.
And everybody else is looking around like, I've been working with this guy for 10 years. All of a sudden on March 7th, I'm supposed to kill him.
Right. And well, exactly. And it's like, well, we've been friends for years. We've done business together, and I'm not a Jew, but he's a Jew. So on that day, he's going to be gone. And then the king's going to take his shop and his gold and his clothes and his farm and his cattle, and that they're gone. And he's got little kids and a couple of daughters. They're all dead. They're going to be dead.
Mm-hmm.
That's just nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. And this was a very like a metropolitan society here. I mean, they had deported people from all over the world, all these different nations. So it's like all of a sudden, okay, the Jews, we're going to kill the Jews.
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Mhm.
Why them?
Yeah.
And it says then the city of Susa was in confusion. You get this picture while the king and Haman sat down to drink. They're like, oh, okay.
They sat down and they're cheering each
crack open
other.
a cold one.
Yep, like cheers to us. We're getting it done. And
Yeah.
everybody else around them's like, what's going
Uh-huh. That's the picture, very
on?
much.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what evil looks like. It's crazy.
Yeah. No second thought, no remorse, no. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Sounds like today.
we'll wrap that up.
More things change, the less they change.
Hey, we need to do before we pray?
Oh, we should do. Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Hi,
Hi,
Carol. Okay.
Okay, now we can say bye, Carol.
All right.
We're going to pray.
Yes.
God, tonight we live in a world that seems like it's drifted from its moorings. Seems like everything's gone crazy. But like Gail said, the more this world changes, the more we see people stay the same. God, just help us to trust you because we know you stay the same. We know you know what's coming next. We know you got this in your hand. You know what's coming for us. God, help us to trust you, to look at the way you orchestrated events at Esther and through over hundreds of years and just made things happen the way you wanted them. God, help us to trust you, knowing you can control my life. You can control what's going to happen with me tomorrow and the next day. It's up to me to lean on you, to trust you, and to tell others about you, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right.
Carol said hi, thanks.
Awesome. Saturday, we will be hitting part 2 in
Urbane Legends.
In our new series, Urbane Legends. Yes, Urban Legends. We're just going to be talking about things that Christians and the church think are truths which aren't in the Bible, just theologically, biblically, scripturally. Urban legends of the Bible, things that aren't true, and we need to set the record straight on some things. So we're going to take a few weeks during October, and we're going to talk about some of those things. My son preached last week. He talked about misconceptions that even Christians have about the devil.
Yeah.
And set that straight with a lot of truths. And since we did the devil last week, I think I'm going to hit on who Jesus really was and is, because there are people who still think he's just a mythological figure who never existed and never really lived. So we're going to talk about that on Saturday.
If you're ever talking to somebody and you're not sure about their theology, or a little like, hey, something smells a little funky, ask them what their church teaches about Jesus.
Yep.
That core fundamental thing will tell you, because look it up. I mean, check out what these other organizations, Jehovah's Witnesses, the Mormons, all of them, just see what they teach about Jesus. That'll tell you whether or not there's merit to what they're teaching.
Yes. So, all right. You prayed. We hit that. I don't know what the menu is for Saturday. It's going to be food of some lovely sort.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
is.
Okay. So with that, God bless you guys. And 3, 2, 1. Good night.